pick the side that is the more tricky side of lunging, and we're going to take a long lunge back, and we're going to lower the knee to the ground. And then we're going to come onto our knees, and then we're going to turn forward so we're center on the mat. And we're going to do our lateral bend series here. So feeling the knees rooting into the ground, we'll grow tall through the spine, and we'll come up and over into our side bend. And then we'll exhale as we lift up. So you can also think of this as kneeling mermaid. Up and over, breathing. And then exhale as you lift. See how much you can allow the shoulders to, tops of the shoulders to relax so that you can use the torso to lift you up. Grow tall. Inhale up and over. And exhale up. We're going to add on our shift. So weight shift, knee comes up, foot stays down. And we're going to, with control, and I should have actually mentioned at the beginning of class, if you find this very tricky getting down to the ground, you can always stack some books or a block and pause wherever it is that is the right place for you. Sorry, I'm making you stay there forever. We'll come up nice with control. That was an extra tricky challenge for you today. Up and over. And then pause here, breathe, and actually bring the arm right over and reach the knee and finger away from one another. And then use your control to come all the way back up. We need to do that stretch on the other side because it feels good. Coming up and over, reach the hand over and reach finger and knee away from one another for this nice stretch, and then coming up with control and coming up and over, reaching fingers away from knee. Find that yummy stretch, and we'll lift up and over. And what would this series be without a little bit of hip action? So we're going to come over, find your control. We'll bring our hands to our waist. We'll float the leg up. Pelvis and torso stay quiet. We'll float the leg forward and our thigh bone forward in space. And then we'll float the leg backwards in space. And we'll come forward. Keep breathing back. See if you can find this opening through the hip without allowing the torso to move. Forward and back. We're going to draw some circles forward and down, back, and up, forward, and down, back, and up. We'll reverse, up, and back, down, and forward, up, and back, pushing the floor away with your hand. And then we'll bring the toe down, we'll lift the arm up, and with control, we're going to come all the way back up. Well done. One more. Inhale, nice and tall. And we'll come up and over, lifting the knee. Hand will come down, hand comes to waist, and we'll float the leg up. We're coming forward and back. And you can move at a pace that feels like the right pace for you. I'm just suggesting a pace for us. And back and forward and back. We're going to come forward now. We'll go into our circles. Forward, up, back, and down. Forward, up. Push the floor away. Forward. Back. Sorry. I'm going to make you do extra rotations on this side. Back. I'm just so in the zone right now. I'm feeling these hip circles. We'll put the foot down. We'll lift the arm. And then we'll come all the way back up. Beautiful. And you can shrug the shoulders. So now we're going to do one more to this side, and we're just going to play for a second. So if you want to just shift down a little bit on your mat, and we're going to tip up and over. And then I want to ask the question, what would it be like if from here we came to all fours with as much control as you can find? So I don't care how you do it, but let's just try it. And then when you get there, you can sort of spread out into your all four position. Well done. We're going to keep our elbows nice and straight. We're going to sink the breastbone towards the floor. Shoulder blades get closer together, and then push the floor away. Shoulder blades widen on the back. Again, thinking just like last week, thinking of the shoulder blades as bars of soap that are just gliding along the ribs, widening. Breastbone sinks, pushing the floor away and widening. We'll do one more in each direction, sinking the breastbone down and pushing and widening. So once we have this widened position with the shoulder blades, just pause for a second and notice what that feels like. There's a little bit of buoyancy. Check in with your head. Make sure you're not dropping your head too low or lifting it up. You want to try and find this nice alignment, just like with our squat alignment. And then we're going to play with some shifting weight. So we'll shift our weight towards the left hand. We'll keep that shoulder blade wide as the right hand comes up and taps the left shoulder and comes down. And just like last week, shifting to the right, if tapping doesn't feel right for you, just pick up the hand and then come back down. So just take this movement on, go on a journey and see what place you can get to with this movement. Shifting the weight. And the goal is we're trying to keep that nice supported position through the upper back so that when we're doing other weight-bearing work, we know how to find this really stable place and our shoulders are helping us and we're not just relying on our core to keep us there. We'll do one more in each direction. And up. And then we're going to have both hands down. We'll keep the shoulder blades wide. And now we're going to tap the back leg, one leg down. And then we'll bring it back in. And we're working to keep everything nice and quiet. Only the leg is moving. Shoulder blades stay wide. Core is supporting the low back. Hips are staying fairly level, although we're human. So if you feel a little bit of movement, that's normal. And in, and we're going to add on in a second, back and in. So now we're going to touch back, lift up, touch down, and in. Yeah, take a break, take a breather if you need it. Back and up and down and in, back. This can also be done on your forearms and in if the wrists are challenging you. Now we're going to come back. We're going to lift the leg. We're going to hold here. And we're going to do 4 circles. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. We're going to pause. We're going to reverse directions. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Beautiful. We'll bring that leg in. Extending the opposite leg again. Trying to keep this nice quiet upper body. Keeping the shape of the body the same as we float that leg up and circle. And 2 and 3 and 4. Pause and reverse. And 2 and 3 and 4. We'll bring that leg in and we're going to come back into a rest pose and take a breath. Oh. That series seems like it should be really easy, but it's not. Maintaining that position in quadruped can be a lot of work. And we're going to come out of our rest pose and we're going to shift into our quadruped and then past our quadruped. And then we're going to shine the breastbone up, come back through neutral and push back. Take a breath here. You can also do this if going past the quadruped is not feeling great for you. Stay in quadruped and then find your breastbone shining, your extension. Come back through neutral and shifting back. Shifting forward. So if you were in quadruped, this is what it will look like. Shine the breastbone forward. Come through neutral and shift back. We're going to change it up just a touch here. Shift forward, shine the breastbone, come back through neutral, bend the elbows as far as you're comfortable with, straighten the elbows, and shift back. We'll do one more just like that. We'll shift forward, shine the breastbone, inhale, Exhale back to center. Bend the elbows. Straighten the elbows. And then shift all the way back. Pause here for a second. Take a big breath. Wiggle if it feels good for you. And then we'll shift forward. And we're going to come into that modified position. And we're going to see if we can get down to our tummies with control. And it doesn't have to be perfection. We're just seeing what possibilities are available to us. Good. And then we're going to get into our star position. And you're going to keep the head or the nose hovering just above the floor. Pubic bone is energized into the floor to keep the low back nice and long. And we're going to lift the right arm and the left leg up. And then we're going to lower them both down. Left arm, right leg lift. And lowering down. So I'm focusing on keeping the pelvis down on the ground. That tripod of support of the two hips, bones, and the pubic bone. Left arm and right leg. So now maybe you want to invite the upper back into an extension, so into our flight position. And if you want to try that with your right arm and left leg, and down, left arm and right leg, and down. And maybe you want to stay up in that extension, or maybe you want to lower down between each set. And coming down. Inhale, lift. And lowering down. And maybe if you're feeling quite stable there and there's not a lot of movement or rocking happening through the pelvis, we come up into our flight position and we're going to speed up the reps. And you get to choose how quickly you want to move and just see where your boundaries are for control and speed. And then we'll roll all the way back down. And we're going to push back into our rest pose. Hands are in front of us. And we're going to go into an active, kind of like a cat. So we're going to round the back. The hands will slide in. And then grow long. And maybe even you find a bit of extension through the upper back. And then walk the hands in, exhale, rounding, head gets heavy. And then walking out, arms are long, maybe you feel a bit of extension. And with your extension, it doesn't matter really what it looks like, you just want to feel where your limits are for your own body. And if that limit is a beautiful, nice, neutral position, then that's a perfect place to be. And we'll do one more, coming in, rounding the back. And walking the hands forward, we'll take the right arm to the corner, left arm crosses over. And we'll wiggle through the shoulders, feeling that length right down through the triceps and the lats. And we'll come through center. We'll bring the left hand to the corner, right hand on top. And we're going to wiggle. Good. We'll come back to center.